Well, joining us live from Washington, D.C. is former US presidential candidate Marianne Williamson. Thank you, Marianne, so much for joining us. You posted recently on X that Jimmy Carter was a good man who spoke the truth, and what some saw as his weaknesses, you saw as his strengths. So what do you think some of those strengths were?
Well, for instance, when the hostages were taken, the American hostages were taken in Tehran, there was a lot of talk about his doing a kind of Rambo type of action, just going in there. Everyone would have been killed. So, yes, they did not come back immediately, but they came back alive. And that, to me, was an example of how sometimes he felt that the sort of cowboy routine was not the best of what humanity had to show for itself, and obviously has not been the best foreign policy and would not have been at that time. So it's, as you said, he was a great humanitarian. He was a very good man. And I think at this point in American history, it's good for us as a country to be reminded of that. We need to see goodness. I was glad to see that the comments from our President-elect Trump were kind and respectful. We needed that too. So this was a life well lived. You know, he lived to be 100 years old. He left a great legacy, both after his presidency, obviously, but I think even during his presidency, more than he's given credit for. Look at his Middle East agreement that was forged between Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat. That was a very, very big deal. It was Carter, and then Clinton was the last American president to try to do the right thing in ways that I think might have prevented the horrors that we are seeing right now.
Absolutely, and as we've been reading, is well known for believing in never going to bed angry and always making peace. As you mentioned, we're hearing some positive comments from all sides of politics. What do you think really stood out from other presidents?
How did Carter stand out from other presidents? Well, we've had other great presidents. We had John F. Kennedy, we had Franklin Roosevelt, we had Abraham Lincoln, we had Thomas Jefferson. It's not like we haven't had other great presidents, but we have had, since the time of Carter, a steady moral decline, you might say. He came in, it was after Watergate. Everybody wanted to go with the good. We wanted goodness again. But over the last few years, we have seen things that have really broken the heart in terms of the decline of some of the moral values that we used to just think of as indisputable requirements for the presidency. So we're going through a kind of tough time now, as I'm sure you realize, and we'll see what happens in the next 4 years. Hopefully I think that the death of President Carter reminds Americans of the best of what it means to be an American. And I hope it will infuse all of us with greater hope and higher standards for ourselves, as well as for our elected leaders.